Hi and welcome to my YouTube channel. This is my very first episode, so thank you for being here. My name is Yaira Tay Thompson and I am the immigrant mother in Europe. Funny name, I know. I live in Denmark, but I'm Ghanaian. I am a mother to two wonderful boys, 4 and 1, and I am a primary school teacher. I teach Danish, English, special education, mathematics. It's a mouthful, I know. I know. I love to travel. I love to volunteer. I have an annual reading project that I do in rural Ghana every year. That's where I'm from, Ghana, West Africa. Love it. Miss it all the time. Let's talk about today's episode: parenting, pandemic, pregnancy. Makes me happy. Yeah. A lot to unpack. What did we start with? Parenting. Like I mentioned, I have 2 kids, 2 boys, 4 and 1. And my parenting style is very different from their dad's. I'm married to a Dane, and Danish men are Danish parents in general are very laissez-faire when it comes to their parenting style. They raise their kids like they're their friends, you know. They have conversations, they negotiate chores and bedtimes and, you know, TV time and all of that. And African parents, really, no, it's my way or the highway. So I've had to learn how to combine both of them, and I think my husband is also learning how to pick up some of the strictness from me. It's not challenging, but it's a lot raising multicultural kids, because you are raising, and especially when you're raising them away from home, because you don't want them to miss out on one or the other culture. I have to consciously parent and consciously remind myself that they're getting a lot out of their Danish culture because they're being raised in Denmark. So I have to intentionally incorporate what I want them to pick from the Ghanaian way of life into our what we do on daily basis, you know, so they don't miss out. It's already hard being a parent. Trust me, it's nothing like pictures. It's really hard being a parent, and then to have to parent intentionally. You need to like focus on that. It's not something that just comes naturally, you know. I think it's important to establish a daily routine with your kids and stick to it so that they know what to expect, they're not confused. It makes the whole journey easier, I think, for them and also for us as parents. Makes the day bearable. Is it hard to parent kids when you are away from everything you know? Is it hard to parent them when you basically have no support system apart from your spouse? Yeah, it is. You don't get any breaks from your kids. You don't get any weekends away. You don't get any evenings away. You're all they have, and they're all you have. 24/7. You don't take any time off. They don't go to the grandparents to get spoiled. You don't get a date night unless you're having it in your house at like 1 a.m. Yeah, it's hard, but it's worth it when you know, when you see their smiles. It's worth it. I was in Ghana when it hit. I was in Ghana from the end of January 2020 till the beginning of April 2020. And when it hit in Denmark in late February, early March, I was still in Ghana. My husband wasn't sure. It was just so fast and furious. My husband wasn't so sure if he would be able to come, because he was supposed to come to Ghana to spend some time with us for a week and a half, I think. But he managed. Yeah, he was lucky that Ghana was not blacklisted as part of the countries he could not travel to before his flight took off, and that his flight wasn't cancelled. So he was able to come before it hit Ghana. And when it did hit Ghana, it was slow. It was a slow wave, because majority of the early cases were all imported cases. We were on single digits for a long time before we got into double digits, actually. And because we had already had experience with the whole Ebola crisis, it made getting ahead of the curve easier. You had Veronica buckets outside every establishment. You had to wash your hand with soap and water, wipe it, dry it. Some shops will even give you sanitizer after that before you could go in and shop, buy whatever you wanted to buy, and come out. And then, you know, the cycle continued. Every shop you went into was like that. Some homes were like that. My house was like that, because I had 2 kids under the age of 4. You know, at that point they were 3 and 8 months, and you were not coming into my house with young children who tend to put everything in their mouths and not be germ free. That was not happening. But at a point when my husband was returning, I changed my older son's ticket so he could come back with his dad, because I just felt like I could not deal with a pandemic and 2 kids on my own. So yeah, so my son came back with his dad, and you know, a lot of businesses in Denmark had been scaled down. Some of them shut down, most of them scaled down. So my husband could work from home, and so it was a bit manageable to deal with a toddler at home. I don't even know why I still call him a toddler, because he acts like he's older than me, man. But yeah, so then I stayed back with my then 8-month-old son. Okay. So I stayed back with my youngest, and every time we travel, because they're Dane and I'm not, I always sign them up on the embassy's website that they're in the country. I got calls every day asking if I was planning to stay and if I was gonna go back to Denmark, because it wasn't safe to be away from Denmark during this time. Every country feels like their healthcare system is superior. Yes, granted, I'm Ghanaian, but I mean, the Danish healthcare system is superior to the Ghanaian healthcare system, no 2 ways about that. But at that point, Denmark was recording numbers in the hundreds, and Ghana had 5-6 cases, so I felt safe. I wasn't ready to go. It took them calling me for like about a week before I decided, okay fine, let me just book a ticket on this repatriation flight with my baby and let's just go back to Denmark. So we did. We came back on a special flight. We self-isolated at home for 14 days. Didn't see anybody, didn't go anywhere. I was too exhausted to go anywhere anyway. So yeah, so we stayed at home. You know, schools were shut, so I basically had to teach my kids at home by myself. My degree comes in handy, I guess, because I feel like idle time also makes you forget a lot of things, but then I'm also a firm believer in learning through play, so it's really easy to do that with younger kids as opposed to older kids. So it was a bit easy. It's just finding the time in the day to do that, in addition to, you know, keeping your house clean, having you time, taking a nap, because taking care of 2 boys is no joke. Some of those things fly out of the window. You have to pick what's important and what's not important. You might feel everything is important, but trust me, when you have 2 boys, not everything is important. So yeah, so we did that. No summer trips this year because it's crazy out there. So, you know, you have all of that time that you're spending with your kids and how to deal with intentionally parenting at home with, you know, 2 boys. I was constantly tired. My husband just chalked it down to the fact that, you know, I'm dealing with 2 very active boys. Active, I mean, their bedtime is at 9 p.m. they go into bed, they don't fall asleep until midnight, that kind of active. Decided to take 3 pregnancy tests before I was convinced that I was pregnant. Trust me, I saw positive after positive after positive and I still thought I was negative. So I called my doctor and she's like, yeah, you're pregnant, but if you still want confirmation, come in for a test, a blood test. I go in, we do a test, I'm pregnant. My reaction was just, Yaira, are you okay? Because I'm a planner down to the last period sign, and no pun intended, full stop. But I did not see this one coming because fine, yeah, okay, I should have, but I did not. So then, you know, in Denmark you get the option, do you want to keep it, do you want to terminate? I was keeping this. It's really hard to give a parent this decision to make about keeping a child or terminating a child, especially when you're talking to someone who has dealt with loss, infant loss. And oh, I said I was gonna make it through this video without crying. I've suffered that a few years back. So it's a no-brainer. You're not ready for 3 kids, but what are you gonna do? It's here, you're keeping it. There's no way you're terminating it, you know. Let's take a moment. I'll be right back. Okay, I really needed that moment. So, infant loss. There are 2 different kinds, a miscarriage and a stillbirth. So a miscarriage is when you lose your child before the 20-week mark, and a stillbirth is when you lose your child after then. I had a really rough way of finding out that I had a miscarriage. I have really bad, let's just call it by layman's terms, morning sickness. With my youngest child, I was sick the entire pregnancy, all 9 months. And with the child I lost, that was actually technically my 2nd pregnancy. Even up until the day I went for my first trimester scan to, you know, check if everything was okay. That's usually between 11 and 13 weeks in Denmark. I went exactly on the day I was 11 weeks. No, I was 12 weeks, actually. Exactly the day I was 12 weeks pregnant. And, you know, they check in, they can't hear a heartbeat. I start freaking out. After a few minutes, she's like, I'll be right back. She goes and calls her superior. She comes, she's like, I don't understand. So then, you know, in Denmark, for you to get a specialized doctor, something has to be really, really bad. Like, that's the amount of education and trust they give their nurses. Like, they're so trained, let me put it that way. They are so trained that, you know, your nurse is not just your average nurse. So finally they call an OB in, and she comes and she's like, yeah, your baby stopped growing a week ago. I'm lying there on the exam bed. I'm like, all I could do was cry because I couldn't give any reaction, because I was just throwing up in the parking lot before I came into the building for my scan, you know. And because it was not my first pregnancy, I told my husband he didn't have to go to hospital with me. I had to drive to the specialist hospital 45 minutes away. That's the only place to do the scans at where I live. And so then I had to drive back home after hearing this news on my own with, you know, tears running down my eyes on a highway. Yeah, not the best conditions. I started thinking, like, it's only been 12 weeks. What could I have done wrong in those 12 weeks to have killed my baby? Because that's how I couldn't think of the fact that the baby died. I was thinking about it in terms of I killed my baby, you know. And it was really hard. It was rough. It was like, what could have happened? Like, and so then it comes with the whole, you know, you have to schedule an appointment with your regular doctor. You have to get spoken to about the steps of a DNC. You have to book an appointment for one. You have to go in, get it done. Have your follow-up, you know, after it's done. A couple of weeks later, have your follow-up to make sure everything is okay. After surgery, you know, post-surgical appointments, normal. But in all of that, I was like a zombie. You know, I did not really deal with it. I was a full-time student, a full-time mom to my firstborn. I didn't give myself time to think about it, to grieve, because I wouldn't have been able to be the parent that I had to be for my son if I was thinking about and dealing with that situation. I can be very one track. Even though I'm really good at multitasking, I can also be very one track. And when tragedy hits, I can be very, very one track. I just want to be in my feelings and feel my feelings, or I just want to put it away in a box and not think about it at all until I have time to think about it, you know, one or the other. There's no middle ground with that for me. So it didn't hit me. It hit obviously, but I didn't let myself feel it, you know. I just went through the motions of my day, you know. Wake my child up, take him to school, drive 2 hours to school, have a full day of school, drive 2 hours back, dinner, get my child ready for bed, all of that, you know. So it was quite a lot on my plate, and I did not want to add the guilt and the grief and all of that into the equation. It really, really hit me when I got pregnant with my youngest child. I felt like such a shitty parent at that point, because I'm like, why do I deserve to have another child if I killed the one before? That was my train of thought. I know I didn't kill my child, but it felt like that at that point. I was not sure if I wanted to be pregnant. I was not sure if I deserved to be pregnant. For the longest time after the miscarriage, I did not take communion up until I delivered my second live child. I never took communion. Like, that guilt was just there. My doctor got worried, had me evaluated. I had apparently sunk into a depression, and I didn't even realize it because I have a history of it. I've had it once before, but it was so bad at that point that was what I associated depression with. And this time, because I was functioning and going through my day, I didn't think that, you know, there was anything wrong. Up until today, I don't think I can say that I have dealt with my grief, but I can't say that it's a bit easier for me to talk about right now than before. Parenting in a pandemic whilst being pregnant. Geesh, it's a lot to unpack, but a lot heavy, very heavy for a first episode. But I'm a mom blogger, I'm a parenting blogger. This is what I talk about. And if you stuck through this whole vlog, I hope you come back. I promise I can talk about lighter, fun things. I promise. Please make sure that you check out my blog, www.immigrantmotherineurope.com. I also have a podcast, the same name, streaming on all streaming sites. Okay, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, same name, Immigrant Mother in Europe. Please click on the subscribe button and the notification bell so you know every time there's a new video out every week. I promise. I also record a podcast every week, so you can listen to that if you prefer audio to video. And until next week, I'm Yaira T. Thompson. Ciao.